I want to make this very, very clear, as if I haven't done so probably a half dozen times already. Maybe people just saw one or two of my tweets last night and not what I've tried to drive the point home for the last not quite 24 hours or so here. It is 100% a feel good story. I cannot say enough how happy I am for Harrison Burton. This totally changes the picture for his career next season and where he's going to end up. It's huge for the Wood brothers. It's one of the biggest upset underdog victories we've seen in a very long time. I could not be happier for all of them. Okay, everybody got that? Harrison Burton was 34th in points, guys. There are 36 chartered entries here. There are two that use a rotation of drivers. It's 15 for Rick Ware, but 16 for Colleague. And then it was Harrison Burton. He was literally the lowest ranked driver in the point standings full time in NASCAR Cup competition this year. And because he won a wild card super speedway race, again, take nothing away from that. It is well deserved. He went out, he outdrove a champion in Kyle Busch, passed him on the last lap to get the job done, thoroughly deserving of the win. Take nothing away from that. But that win alone now guarantees him, at minimum, a 16th place finish in the driver standings. And I have a problem with that because people who watch this show, people that watch my show, people who tune into this network, they know how I feel about this system. They know how I feel about how we crown a champion. But I also feel the same way about how we look at the standings overall. Where you rank in the final standings should be, relatively speaking, about your average position, your average running order over the course of a full year. If you finish 16th in points, people are going to look at that and assume you had about a 16th place car throughout the season. That was about where you ran on average. That's what the standings should represent to me. And Harrison Burton had one top 10 coming into this race. It was a 10th place, I think, at the other super speedway race at Talladega earlier this spring. It has not been the season that Harrison Burton and the Wood brothers would have liked to have had at all. They have been nowhere close to playoff contention, and this was the only way they were going to get in, was an absolute Hail Mary at what, for all intents and purposes, was their regular season finale, because I, again, think that the odds of Harrison Burton winning Darlington were probably much slimmer than they were him winning the race last night. That's the only reason that he's in the playoffs, and now he's going to be guaranteed to finish 16th in points. And I think that it can be both things. You can have the emotions. People were saying, oh, these playoff haters are just drowning out all the positive energy with their negativity here. You can be happy for Harrison Burton. You can be happy that we got a great storyline coming out of a night that maybe wasn't going to have that with some of the flips and the crashes that we saw. We'll get into that later on here as well. You can be happy for all of that and also come back to reality and acknowledge maybe we shouldn't have taken the top 30 rule away. Because if Harrison Burton did this even 2 or 3 years ago, we're having the same conversations that we had about Chris Buescher when he stole a win at Pocono in 2016 when the fog rolled in and they called that race. We're having the same conversations about Spire Motorsports on the owner's side of things when they stole the win with Justin Haley with the well-timed lightning strike at this very race in 2019 as well. These cars, these drivers in these situations here, again, take nothing away from their wins. They went and did what they had to do. They're trying the best with the limited resources that they have in many of these cases. But there's a reason why that top 30 rule existed. It was to prevent teams from the very back of the grid from taking a playoff spot from a driver that was higher up in the points that, to be quite frank, probably deserves it a little bit more based on their full season performance here. And again, nothing against Harrison Burton, nothing against the Wood brothers. It is a feel-good story. I cannot emphasize that enough. But that car and that team this year, with how they've been running, I don't think them finishing 16th in points, or maybe even a little bit higher, we'll see. Maybe this win will be a shot in the arm and knee. Maybe they turn things around and they'll go on a little bit of a run here in the playoffs. And if they do that, more power to them. But they're not really true championship contenders. And to me, it's just taking a playoff spot away. We probably have too many playoff spots to begin with, but that's a subject and discussion for another show, I think. I don't know. I have a problem with the absolute lowest ranked. This would be like a 2-15 NFL team winning their regular season finale, their Week 18 game, and then getting a wild card spot in the playoffs. It's just, and people that like the playoffs, they like to make stick and ball sports comparisons. There's one for you there. It's just, it bothers me for the integrity of the system that 21 team is taking up a playoff spot now over somebody like a Kyle Busch, who, although he has not had the season that we know Kyle Busch is capable of having, has been close to victory lane on a couple of occasions and is more likely to find the speed and turn things around late in the year to maybe go on a championship run than that 21 team is. So again, cannot emphasize enough. Congratulations to them. Job well done. But the reality is, it still bothers me as somebody who values the integrity of a full season points championship that car is going to be taking up a spot.